Hey guys, Total Car Players here, and I'm Total Car Player Treek, and today I will be your host. Today we are going over my 2020 competitive Salamangreat budget deck build. So this deck will cost you about, I want to say in the ballpark of 100 or like 110, including like taxes and shipping stuff, not 110 or under that mainly. This is a very competitive, it's not very competitive. There are some shortcuts made, like you're not running really hardcore things, but this deck is still very efficient, consistent, and can compete with today's meta. And I even have a side deck for you guys. The first time in the video I have ever included a side deck, so I will go over that later. But anyways, let's go straight into the build. But I do want to say thank you so much to you guys. We are nearing 200 views on our @Ignister deck profile video, and I want you guys to subscribe. I love you guys so much, and thank you for the views, but please subscribe. It's helpful if you just subscribe. And without further ado, let's get started into the video. We have 3 Flame Buffalo standard. We all know what Flame Buffalo does. Goes to the field to grave, discard a Cybers, draw 2 cards. Always necessary to run this card at 3. You can never shortcut this card out of the deck, because it is what makes the deck consistent, and it's a very powerhouse card in any Cybers deck, really, in my honest opinion. Then, on top of that, 3 Parallel Exceed. Standard Parallel Exceed is a powerful Cybers monster in today's meta. You special summon a Link, you special summon this from your hand, and then you special summon another one. 2 bodies on the field automatically. That will help with a possible play that I will show you guys, but it's a really picky hand, but very powerful. And 1 Lady Debug. Now this is where people are going to catch me. Lady Debug is at a pricey point. She's like $5 a piece still, and she is the briggiest thing in this deck, actually. Lady Debug is helpful at certain points, but really you kind of don't even want to see her in your opening hand. You rather see something like Parallel Exceed or Buffalo, which you rather see over her. And really, when I played her more than one, I bricked with her a lot. She was pointless. She was just sitting in my hand and really couldn't take me anywhere because other things were more important than her at the moment. So really, I suggest running her at 1 because you don't want to see her opening hand, but you do want to see her at certain times when she is most needed. So we have 3 Foxies. Foxies, 3 standard, 3 Spinny, standard. Well, actually, most of you are running Spinny at 2 now. I still run Spinny at 3, especially how the deck is built. And Spinny is still a vital key part of Salamangreat, so Spinny will always be in this deck list for me. 2 Jack Jaguars, also standard. I do suggest running this at 2 if you have another option that's better than Jack Jaguar, because he can be bricky at times, and really, he was always still useful at 1, because you really pitched him with Gazelle to the grave from deck, so it's not really all that. But 1 Gazelle standard, always one at 1. I do wish we had him at 2, because Gazelle is something I like to open up a lot, because Gazelle just like makes my plays really, really thorough and full. 1 Falco standard, 1 Foul, and 1 Mole. So I added in the Mole because it is part of a nice combo that you can do. Plus Mole is another free body on field and just gets you even further into your combo plays by special summoning himself. And then really, if you open up with a Falco, Mole, and Gazelle, really just use the Gazelle and just go from there. Really, you can pop off really heavy. So there are just a lot of options with Mole, which is why I like running him in this deck. But sometimes you don't want to see him often, so 1 is probably the sweet spot, I say. Next, 2 Phantasmas. I was going to run this at 3, but then I realized most decks are link heavy. However, there are certain times where you could be going first, and you don't want to see this in your opening hand because he will become pointless. He's good for going second, but he's also expensive, so you're going to be paying $15 for 3 copies, be my guess. But 2 works perfectly fine in this deck, and I feel like Phantasm is still a good card, and I do see him very often, so running him at 2 has never been an issue with me. But I do suggest if you want to up a certain card, up Phantasm to 3, but 2 works for me as of right now. And lastly, 2 DD Crows. since we don't have Call by the Grave at 3 anymore, DD Crow is still that sweet little monster that can banish and do the same thing as a Call by the Grave, actually. So yeah, pretty smooth. He smooths out. He works really well, gets rid of my Ash Blossoms. So just does everything Call by the Grave does, just in creature form, really. Standard 3 sign-up mining, no need to explain this. No, if you, I remember when this thing used to be $20, so I had to run like a full budget build without it. But I realized sign-up mining is like probably one of the most key essential things for any cyber stack, and it's going for like $2 a piece now. So sign-up mining, always necessary. Thank you, Konami, for making good reprints. So 3 necessary, standard, 1 sanctuary, 1 circle, and 2 will. 2 will. I always suggest running, and of course the 1 Sanctuary and Circle are necessary because ban list and Sanctuary you do not want to see in your opening hand. So really necessary this way. Then 1 add-on card that I think every Salamangreat deck should run, but no one ever runs it really, is Fury of Fire. Fury of Fire is a powerful Salamangreat card that states special summon up to 2 Salamangreat monsters with different names from your hand or graveyard in defense, but their effects are negated for the rest of this turn after this card resolves. You can only special summon from the extra deck once. So I get the special summon from the extra deck once, but really what I like about this card is that you can play it late game, mid game, or at the beginning of your turn. Because what's sweet about this is basically how I use this is I probably already got like really far into my combo, and if I only need to extend one more time to get that one additional summon, that one additional extra deck summon. This is really helpful because really, this deck can play through combos, and then really, if you just need that small little extension, this will always come in handy, and has with me, and I have never found a downside to it. So, if you want to kick it out of the deck list, be my guest, but for right now, it does pretty well, especially for this build. And lastly, 2 Super Polys and 1 Monster Reborn. So Monster Reborn is standard. I run this in every single one of my decks because it's Monster Reborn. You can never go wrong with it. And then 2 Super Polys because it's Super Poly, and really this stops things like it stops most decks like Shaddoll and Invoke because you're using their crap, and especially since you're using stuff like Starving Venom, and it really just stops certain League monster plays like if your opponent was to like go into something like Link Rust or something, you can just really stop them in their tracks. So really, Super Poly just stops your opponents in their tracks if they're about to make some big boss combo plays, or just shuts down their whole entire field because they don't have any monsters and they can't respond to this. And especially for my friend who plays Time Thieves, so this is like a really good anti to Time Thieves if you do have that one annoying friend. Standard 2 and 2, 2 Rage and Roar. Rage and Roar standard at 2. You can run these at 1. You don't want to see them, but you kind of want to see them a bit. So it's really your choice. I run 2 because it's a nice sweet spot and it fills up space, since really there's not that many extenders you can add, and it just works really well. And lastly, 2 Bottomless Trap Holes. Now, I know what you're saying. Why aren't you running Gravedigger Trap Hole? So my original plan was to run 2 Gravedigger Trap Holes. However, those are like really expensive, and this is supposed to be a budget build, and I know most people can't afford things like that sometimes. So it's really nice, and Bottomless Trap Hole stops things like Pendulum, because one thing about Pendulum summoning that no one realizes is that it's 1 consecutive summon. So they all come on the field at the same time. It's just your opponent can't like hold diamond cards in their hand and just do this. So really, it's all 1 consecutive summon, which means that you're gonna banish all of them. And me and my friends found that out, locals, especially since, if you look at the cards text, right there, there's an S right there. So, yes, it's highly necessary. Stops Pendulum, so it works really well in my opinion, and I love it a lot. You guys will probably get most out of Phalanx 3, Sunlight Wolf 2. Now, here's where people will get confused for a second. Most people run Sunlight Wolf at 3, but I needed the extra deck space, and Sunlight Wolf is the one card you have to cut out. You need Phalanx at 3, and Sunlight Wolf, I only see him like once throughout the whole entire game. Or unless I'm trying to get into a Link 4 or something, I only see him once, and that's at the beginning of my turn, and then I never see him again. And really, you have so much recurrence in the deck of how it's built, it doesn't even matter. You can constantly just recycle him with Jack Jaguar if you don't have like another Power Phoenix or anything like that, and you really just want to get something back in. So really, he's just a good recycle, and he works well at 2, and deck space is tight, so 2 I think is really good and is a beautiful spot. 2 Heat Leo, standard. Heat Leo is a powerful link 3, and lastly, 2 Pyro Phoenix. Now, this will never be the Access Code Talker build, because I don't like to run BS things like that, and also, a little bit too broken, and Access Code Talker is expensive, and I like how Pyro Phoenix looks, and Pyro Phoenix's effect is God. So, it's a very beautiful card in my opinion, and it works really well in the deck, especially for the combo that I can do with this, but your hand does have to be picky. But this is a good second turn starter with other cards in the deck. Alright, next we have 1 Nightmare Phoenix and 1 Unchained Abomination. Alright, so now here's where I'm going to give you freedom options. Nightmare Phoenix isn't necessary, so let's tuck that away. Your freedom option is with Unchained Abomination. So he is a Link 4. He is one of the most... there are 3 options that I suggest for this deck, and that is Mekk-Knight Air Max, Unchained Abomination, or Appaloosa. Appaloosa is if you're playing a Go First build, but one thing I realized, Parallel Z doesn't work as well with Appaloosa as it does with Unchained, because Appaloosa forces you to have different names, and then that means you'll have to do something in Parallel Exceed. And what I realized was Unchained does not care. He just wants a Link monster, that's all. And he blows everything up at the end phase when he attacks and during your opponent's turn. So really, he's a good going second card, and he can even go first because if your opponent can't out him, you're just going to start blowing up your opponent's field. So I really suggest Unchained, especially if you're going for a budget option. Unchained is cheaper than Mekk-Knight and Appaloosa, excessively cheaper by like $10. So I suggest. Next for Xyz, 1 Brotherhood and 1 Abyss Dweller. Standard Abyss Dweller is powerful, and Brotherhood and Lion Emperor is Mirage Dalio for 2020. I miss you, Mirage. But, you know, still, he does his job, he recycles, and plus, he really stays on the field, actually. I never do anything with him besides that. So, he just stays on the field, really. And then, Fusions, Violet Chimera, and starting with a Fusion Dragon. Fusion Dragon, because a lot of Dark monsters are played in today's meta, and for Super Poly targets, and Chimera, mainly for Link targets, especially if you're trying to get rid of Link monsters. And because Violet Chimera is a powerful, overpowered thing where you can just OTK your opponent if you want to and if you can, especially since it's not hard to get Unchained Abomination and Violet Chimera out the same turn, or Pyro Phoenix Violet Chimera, or all 3, which I have done before, but that took me 2 turns, so it's a very powerful deck, and it works really well, and I think this is just really sweet and powerful. Off with the traps, 1 Red Reboot because Ultrageist is still a thing, 3 Twin Twisters, because Ultrageist is still a thing, and Back Row is still a thing, Dogmatica is still a thing, well, actually, it's always been a thing now, and lots of Back Row stoppers, so Twin Twisters is a beautiful, sweet thing, especially if you just want to discard cards. Salamangreat thrives off a graveyard, so just discarding cards and getting advantage out of it works really well in this deck for numerous reasons. 1 Called by the Grave, just because it's Called by the Grave, and it's a beautiful card. Ghost Ogre and 2 Ghost Spells. Really, I was going to run 3 Ghost Spells, but Ghost Ogre is also another option. These 3 options are mainly to switch out with DD Crows. Because the reason why I like to use Ghost Spell more than Ghost Ogre is because Ghost Spell's effect, basically special summon monster card from your graveyard. From the graveyard. So really, things like Dragon Link and stuff like that, they switch them back to the graveyard and keep going through combos. That's how they work. And really, this stops it. And next, well, banishing cards from graveyards is also a nice sweet touch. Stopping numerous things, so it works really well, actually, in my opinion. Next, I'm going to save those because those are really sweet. 2 Dino Wrestler Pankratops, because Pankratops is a free body on field that can pop things. That's all that needed to be said. And now, I think people are going to like this, and I think it's highly necessary. 1 flame kaiju, and 3 sea turtle kaijus. I would probably run more than just one of the flame kaijus, but that's all I had. And really, this works. Plus, I like the design of Gameciel more than this one. But basically, as you can tell, this extra deck is made for FU meta. I'm going to still exist, and I will make sure that I will horribly taunt you and make sure my combos go through. So really, one thing I love about doing with just like these 2 cards is really using Gameciel to attribute over to your opponent's side, and then using this kaiju if you're special this card from your hand in attack position. Which means that what's going to happen is he's going to be in your field, and he's actually fire type. So he can advance your plays in the extra deck because he's a fire type. And he's a 3000 attacker, so he has tons of power and is a big, beefy boy, I would say. And then, really, what's even good about Gameciel is not only that, you can do the same exact thing with Gameciel. Boom. 2 bigs on the field, and they're powerful enough, and if you need extra bodies in your field, easy enough. You should easily be able to go into your Unchained Abomination, or just anything that can help you go into Unchained Abomination, really. And really, that's what Gameciel is going to do. And then Flame Kaiju, if needed, can get you into your Pyro Phoenix, which is helpful in numerous ways. So really, that's why I felt like this Kaiju engine was like highly valuable and really necessary. And I think all extra decks, all side decks should be prepared to go against certain decks like that. Especially since I was at one of my locals and I didn't have this deck ready in time. I was using one of my other decks. I went up against 3 different people running the same exact 60-card Dragon Link Bull. So really, I feel like this is helpful a lot in numerous ways and is actually just a beautiful piece of the deck in highly ways. Second of all, I mean, I gotta point this out because we all love foil cards on the channel, right, guys? Look at how beautiful these are. Like, these are some really shiny cards right now. So, and plus, these kaijus are the most inexpensive side deck options. Really. Kaijus are powerful, they're big, they're strong, slows down your opponent, especially if you're going against, like, 6-card Dragon Link combo, and you're going second with Salamangreats. And what happens with Dragon Link is that you're going to have that Herald Synchro monster, right? And that Herald is going to start to, anything that's sent from the deck to the grave is banished. And that stops Salamangreats from existence. So really what's going to happen here is that Kaiju get rid of that problem. Second one, can't be stopped by Broiled Savage because it's not an effect, just how it works. It's like Soul Exchange. And then, or get rid of something like Broiled Savage. It's an issue. It's really, this is just a really problem-solving side deck, I would want to say. And really, I think this is just best. And second of all, I want to be honest with you. This is just, like, going to be funny. I didn't get to test this out yet. I'm going to test this out really soon. But it is going to be a very powerful deck. I've been testing out numerous times against numerous people. They have felt my wrath when I have seen the decks they've been playing. And really, they have told me themselves this side deck's too potent, especially because really what's happening, you're just not going to let your opponent play anymore. Because he's not going to let you play. Gonna torture them for playing decks now, I see. So really, that's what the kaijus are for. And then Pankratops is just one of the most essential side deck pieces of any time ever since he's been out. He's a free body and he pops things, even like kills himself. He works. Also, shout out to the trader who I traded this with for letting me keep this Kaiba Corpse sleeve. I want to say thank you for that. It's a beautiful sleeve. And really, it's just insane how built up this is overall. So I just want to leave it at that, because I'm rambling on a lot now, because it was just not a good day for me, especially with all those Dragon Links, oh my god. See, this is literally why I built the side deck. At first, I wasn't going to build a side deck, and then I realized this is a real issue, and certain decks like Salamangreats cannot play around. So Salamangreats is like very viable and can play through numerous hand traps, but like negates from Warlord Savage to infinite banishment, like basically if someone were playing Dimension Shifter, just not pretty. So I think this is very well a beautiful lineup. Let me know what you have to say in the comments. If you guys want to see any more deck lists, let me know. After this video, I do have Magic Commander deck list getting prepared for you guys. Please subscribe. You don't even have to like, just subscribe. And anyways, I hope to see you guys again. Let me know if you want to see any other deck list. If I don't own the cards or can't make the deck myself, I will make it for you online and just make a video going through it. And leave any budget deck options you want to see. Like, if you just want to see a budget deck of a certain deck, just let me know in the comments. I will build them for you guys as soon and as quick as possible. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Tool Car Players out.